Hey folks, my name is Jan. I'm with the Fairy Congress and with the Gaian Congress, and we get to have Tommie Starchild for this month. He's going to be doing a workshop on the heartbeat of folk magic, June 21st. All the details are in the description. But a little bit. So last month, Orion Foxwood was doing a workshop on the Dark Rider and Crossroads magics, which is southern root work. And this month, for the whole month, we're having Megan Rose, who is doing, as I said, the month-long workshop on the dark deities, like who are they, how do we work with them. She has studied with Orion Foxwood. Tommie has studied with Orion Foxwood. So we're getting kind of like a Southern folk magic. So what is Southern folk magic and what is the heartbeat? Because right now we're getting a lot of books on, do this for if you have a headache and, the prescription, but we're not getting the heartbeat. So this is where we bring Tommie in. Tommie, and I'm so glad you're joining us on the 21st.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm Tommie Starchild, and the heartbeat of Southern folk magic or folk magic in general, we need to start with what is folk magic. And so folk magic is really defined by being um, magical practices of the common folk, so the everyday person, as opposed to ceremonial magic, which was often practiced by the learned elite. So as opposed to like Kabbalah or Golden Dawn or these more ceremonial practices practiced in temples or astral temples, folk magic is really about the practical life of the practical individual. So it's poor folk magic essentially. So folks that don't have the resources that to maybe go to a doctor, to see a lawyer, or kinds of things, or maybe even isolated, so they don't have access to those resources, whether their access is proximity or access is financial. And so these practices grow up out of those pockets, those regions, those sometimes isolated down to families. And it's knowing the spirits, the land spirits, Fey spirits if you work with Fey spirits, Sasquatch energy if you're in that area, knowing the plants. We're talking weeds. We're not talking special. Go to your local nursery and buy this special herb and grow it. No, we're talking the weeds that grow in your yard, and how to access the healing magic, um, the justice magic, whatever form of magic you need, but don't have the financial resources to reach to access those professional services. Then you go to the root worker, the conjure worker, the hoodoo practitioner. These are all different names, different names of different regions of Southern folk magic, but they all have their origins in the same kind of general soup, which was Native American practices mixed with African practices brought over by the slave trade, and then some European magical practices brought over from refugees from Europe, and these got mixed up and in varying mixtures depending on where people were and what types of cultures were available. So a lot of even Scots and Scots Irish, in particular, got mixed up in because as they moved and relocated into the Americas, a lot of them went up into the Appalachian Mountains, and there's Cherokee history of the Scots intermixing with Cherokee tribes, and so even in indigenous histories, we have oral stories of the mixing of the cultures. And what we get out of that are practices that connect with what your day to day needs are and how to access those that nature provides.
Tommie, this just sounds so. We have not really studied this before through the Fairy and Human Relations Congress, but fairy work is folk magic. It
Right.
is it is not something you can really go to a school and study. So
Right.
or pick up a book. It's the heartbeat of folk magic. So June 21st, this is 10 to 11:30 on a.m. Pacific time on Zoom. All the details are in the in the description. Look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, Tommie.
Thank you. I can't wait. I'm excited.